I haven't seen anything like this in Charlotte.
It's some of the most valuable real estate in the city. Two townhomes.
2 townhomes right here. They'll be about 3,000 square feet, 2 stories, full basement. It was a very, very nice house at one time.
800, 900, a mil plus, and it's all in this little pocket. I'm here with the owner of KB Construction, and we have Kenneth here today. He's actually has a lot going on in Charlotte. He does a lot of development in Charlotte and makes a lot of neighborhoods better. Before we get into that, right, about who he is today, we're gonna take it back to the beginning. Kenneth, could you tell us, what was your introduction to real estate and how long have you been in real estate?
So I started in real estate back 1999. I actually bought a rental property literally a block away from here, 200 Walnut Avenue. And at the time I was just I was a banker. I was trying to make some extra money on the side, got into real estate, happened upon a really, really good mentor here in town, and kind of matured through owning property and doing the rental thing, and then moved on to flipping houses, and then from that point moved on to some that people weren't really competing for houses, but not for dirt. So I found a niche. Infill development really wasn't a thing back then, and I just really learned about the development game, and I got my unlimited GC license, and so now that's what I focus on primarily is infill development.
Let me ask you a question. So I remember I moved down here in 2008.
Right.
I remember driving down here, getting into real estate. This used to be the hood, very low income.
Yep.
Very, very low income neighborhood at the time. Downtown was right there, but at that particular time, it wasn't, the live, work, and play thing wasn't going on at that time.
Right.
So what made you go buy a house right there on Walnut and around this area? Like what made you buy rental properties in this area?
I'll be honest with you, I'm a displaced New Yorker. So I was born in Queens, New York, and in the neighborhood that I moved into, Wesley Heights, really reminded me of Queens. I liked it for that reason. So when I first started, I wasn't really thinking about that. It was very convenient for me to get to work at the time. I worked for the bank uptown. It was affordable, and the neighborhood was nice. It was quiet, it reminded me of home. But as I matured in the real estate game, I realized, like, being in New York City, there's been several cycles of gentrification that's happened there. And those same cycles, they happen everywhere. It just happens to be that they hadn't happened that many times here in Charlotte. And so I recognized that it was a good investment, and that's really how I've keyed in on other investment opportunities here in Charlotte, understanding the fact that, proximity to where people wants to be matters. Even if the prices may be low there, supply and demand, those things, location, like that really matters. So I've been good about picking locations early and capitalizing on that. And then after that got to be a little more difficult because there's more competition, then I started to learn about the principles of development, highest and best use. Like, how can I get the most out of this piece of property? Like, somebody else may say, hey, there's all houses here, but how can I get more out of here than what everybody else is getting out of the property? And that's kind of how I started. That was really it.
You bought your first rental property in 1999, right?
Yep.
And was that in this neighborhood?
Yeah, it's 200 Walnut Avenue. It's on the corner, right over there, right around the corner.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right? You foreseen the gentrification wave in 1999?
At the time, no, I wasn't thinking about it that deeply. I think at the time I was looking, first of all, when I first moved, for a place for me and my family to live, and I wanted to make a good investment. And I remember this little tiny house that we bought. It was 1,000 square feet, but I could look out the kitchen window and I saw the skyline of uptown. And I literally, at the time, I mean, for me, if I was back in the city, it would be nothing for me to have walked to work every day, to be able to walk to work every day. So I was like, this makes a lot of sense for me. And at the time, still banking was really big in Charlotte. So I'm like, well, I don't know why everybody doesn't want to live here because it's so close to where. And then once I actually, after that time, after I bought that first house, then I started getting into real estate. Some of those same things I thought about my neighborhood that was beginning to be more and more popular. That, well, why is the neighborhood across the street to just name something different? Like, it's the same distance away. Like, why isn't it as popular? And why is the neighborhood across from that neighborhood that's the same neighborhood not as popular? I knew back in 2000, probably 2004, 2005, if people told me, I was like, hey, buy everything by Johnson C. Smith University you possibly can. And people were like, huh? I was like, trust me, anything over there, buy it that you can, because it's going to be very, very valuable.
It's some of the most valuable real estate in the city.
I agreed. Yes, very, very valuable.
You have sales, 800, 900, a mil plus, and it's all in this little pocket in these multiple neighborhoods surrounded by Johnson C. Smith, which is a HBCU.
I have a lot of people that reach out to me, people that haven't been in Charlotte in a long time, friends I've had in the past even, and they've seen a listing. I think that we're going to go to today, and they're like, "That's on State Street? That's on Katona?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's where it is." And people are shocked that, you know, because they remember not that many years ago that, you know, it was one way. Now it's very, very, very different.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
Oh, it was rough around there.
Yeah.
I remember it. Even a few years ago, I did a deal in Katona before, and it was a rough spot.
Yeah.
It was a rough spot, and now totally different.
Very different.
And I encourage people to buy back the block and, you know, get into rental properties, get into real estate in general, because it's so powerful. How much you bought this house for?
I think we bought this for $390,000.
All right, so $390,000. But let's say 1999, right? Like you could have probably got this house for like $15,000, $20,000.
This one, actually, I knew the people, the family that lived here, and I've known this house for well over 20. I love this house a long time ago. It's so crazy that my viewpoint of what I would have done with the house then and what I'm doing with the house now is totally different.
Yeah.
But even then, I'd ask him to sell me this house before, and they wouldn't sell it to me. But I mean, $50,000. This was a really, really nice house. This house had a slate roof on it.
Yeah.
This house, 2 stories, full basement. It was a very, very nice house at one time. It just kind of fell into disrepair and everything. But yeah, probably maybe $40,000, $50,000.
Okay, so $50,000 in this neighborhood, because I've wholesale stuff in like 2-3 neighborhoods over for $15,000, $20,000.
yeah.
You roughly, just by holding it, let's say you did nothing, you just paid the taxes, you would have netted 6 figures, because like you said, he paid $390 to
Buy it and tear it down.
buy it and tear it down, which I try to explain to people, when you're holding real estate, you gotta look at the return you're getting by doing nothing.
Right.
By literally doing nothing, especially if you're in a major city, any major city in America, this is going on. By just doing nothing, you gotta look at the return, and then your job. You know, because you have a corporate background.
Right.
I was in banking, and I had a corporate background, and I can show you people, hey, listen, they've been in the workforce 15, 20 years, they don't make $100,000 a year. But if they would have just bought this property and held it and did nothing, they could have cashed out and walked away with 6 figures addition to their job, and then they could have, you know, did what they want to do or whatever and planted some more seeds. But that's just the power of real estate, man. Before we go over to the next property, how can somebody get in touch with you?
If you're on Facebook, KB Holdings Development, we have a Facebook page. We have a KB Holdings Instagram page too. We do some free content sometimes. I talk to people. I love real estate. I love talking to people that look like me about real estate. I think that as far as, you know, wealth that can be passed down, real estate is like the lowest rung for historical wealth for Black and brown people. And so I'm very, very passionate about making sure people understand the power of that, so they can have it for themselves, to be able to pass that down to the next generation of people. And that's the lowest rung. Like, you don't have to be an astrophysicist or have a graduate degree or even a degree at all to be able to do that. So that's what I'm looking for people to do and to learn is to do that.
This is what he got going on here. He's building two townhomes.
2 townhomes right here. They'll be about 3,000 square feet. It's going to be a really cool setup. It's going to be set up kind of like a New York City brownstone, really is what it's going to be like. It's going to be a really different and interesting product. Like, I don't think once this is done, I haven't seen anything like this in Charlotte. Well, some things close, but nothing really like this in Charlotte. So we're super excited about it.
And before I let you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm noticing, right? I know you say you've been looking at this house for years. You know the house, you know the fit, you knew the original family, whatever. Right. I don't see the beauty of it right now because the house tore down. I don't remember this house, right. But I noticed this doesn't have a driveway.
No.
So where's your drive? What you gonna do?
So that's the challenge with this particular property, because these lots are all elevated. You know, like, I don't think anyone really wants to pay, you know, $900 to $1 million for a house and not have a place to park. So what we're gonna do basically is we fix that situation. So we're gonna build this, we're gonna put a basement back in, I'm gonna cut in, and you're gonna have a driveway. You're gonna be able to pull off this street and park underneath your house. The garage is gonna be underneath your house. And if you look down the street here, all these elevated lots, everyone here, they gotta park on the street. You don't have a room for a garage.
Yeah.
We're gonna, because highest and best use, we figured out a way that we can design this in a way that you can have that garage. You can pull off your street into your garage, inside your house, go upstairs.
All right, for $1 million a piece, you know, you can live right here and just be able to pull off and pull in. So guys, make sure you comment what you think below. I think this is going to turn out beautiful. This neighborhood is exceptional, so just comment below if you're interested in development. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.